What's up, guys? DRock1992 here. For this next video, I am going to be talking about and reviewing a film I watched a couple of days ago, and I watched its sequel a couple days ago. That'll come up in the next video. The one I'm going to talk about in this video is the film Machete. Directed by Robert Rodriguez, who is a pretty known director. He's very much a director who specializes in violent types of things, and specializes in violence in his movies and things like that. And he's kind of like the director Quentin Tarantino, in that they both really bring up the violence in their movies and things like that, and they bring up they bring that up in all of their movies, and they're very well known for it. So this is a Robert Rodriguez directed film. This movie is a B-movie film, so maybe not a lot of people have heard about it before. I'm not sure if a lot of people have heard about it. I mean, actually, for the budget, it cost $10.5 million to make the movie. It's not, independent film-like, where in a lot of independent films you can get budgets of $1 million, $2 million, things like that, or even lower. You get shoestring budgets like that. So it's kind of surprising that Machete didn't have less money in its budget, that it actually had more. But then again, you watch the film, not as surprising. But anyway, Machete. It is a film. It stars Danny Trejo as Machete, and this is his first lead role. His first lead role as the title character. Before then, Danny Trejo was in a ton of movies, a ton of B movies, a lot of blockbuster movies, but in bit roles. Trejo, you might know him best. He was in the movie Con Air in the 1990s. He was in Desperado, the movie also with Robert Rodriguez. And the guy's been in a lot of movies. The guy has been in a lot, but never as the star guy. This movie right here was his first appearance as a lead character. He plays Machete, the man with the machete who has few words. He speaks little in the two movies. You don't hear him speak a lot. He does the talking with his machete, slicing off hands, killing bad guys left and right, things like that. This is not a movie for the kids. I'm just going to say that right now. This is not a movie for children. This is a movie for, adults and things like that. Adults, young adults, stuff like that. Yeah, this is a movie for them. And even saying that, this is very much a movie that is for a select audience that likes blood and violence and gore to a maximum level, and great action. So this isn't for everybody, but I just watched this film a couple of days ago, like I said, and its sequel, Machete Kills, and I'm going to talk about Machete Kills in the next video. But what the plot is basically about is Machete, who used to be an agent in Mexico, a federal agent in Mexico, something like that. Um, he he has to basically stop this plot to get a senator reelected so that a big drug lord can increase his drug trade and things like that, and put up a big fence. Actually, so that the senator can put up a big fence if he's reelected. The senator can put up a big fence to stop immigration, and that would be great business for the drug lord in this movie to really get good prices on drugs and things like that. So that is essentially the major plot of this film. That's basically what the film is about. Actually, the movie is directed by two people, Robert Rodriguez and this guy named Ethan Manquis, or Menquis. As far as characterization goes, there is a lot of brand names in this movie. Danny Trejo, as I mentioned, as Machete Cortez. Robert DeNiro's in this film. He plays Senator John McLaughlin, who's basically a bad guy. You know, he's one of the bad guys in the film, basically. Pretty much throughout the film. Anytime you add a guy with the stature of Robert De Niro, it's a good thing for any movie, because the guy's a legend. Jessica Alba plays Sartana Rivera, who is the love interest of Machete Cortez. Steven Seagal plays Rogelio Torres, who is the major villain of the film, the drug lord. Michelle Rodriguez plays a revolutionary named Luz. She basically is her name. She's a revolutionary that is also plotting to end the plot by the senator to put up the fences and stop immigration. She's bringing immigrants across the border and things like that in this movie. That's her job. Cheech Marin. I mean, some of you may not actually know about these two. A lot of older people may know this. May know Cheech and Chong. So Cheech is in this movie. Freaking Cheech is in this movie. He plays a priest of all people. And that is something, I mean, Cheech Marin, people. Lindsay Lohan is in this film. You know, she plays April Booth, who, this guy named Jeff Fahey plays one of the major villains as well. A guy who originally recruits Machete to protect the senator, but turns out to be a bad guy. Lindsay Lohan plays April Booth, his daughter, and a woman who is up for vengeance, basically. But yeah, basically, those are the major characters in this film. Now, talking about how the characters did in this film. Danny Trejo is very effective. I mean, he doesn't speak a lot in the film. There's not a lot of spoken dialogue with Danny Trejo. But just the look, the stare, the intimidation factor with Danny Trejo. He plays this character to a T. He is so good playing this role. And Danny Trejo's known for action roles, action-type roles, because, I mean, there is one thing, though, that puzzles me, and I'll talk about it after, but right now I want to get into the characters. Robert De Niro in this film, he doesn't play his most memorable role. I mean, when, Goodfellas and Mean Streets and Taxi Driver, Godfather Part 2, those in particular are some of his more memorable films. This is not the best performance from Robert De Niro. but it's not bad whatsoever. Jessica Alba, I think she does a pretty good job in the film. A pretty well-known actress. I know her most in the Fantastic Four movies, actually. So Jessica Alba does a pretty good job in this film. Steven Seagal. There are not a lot of actors that I hate. Steven Seagal is an actor that I hate as an actor. I love his movies because Steven Seagal back in the 90s and late 80s and 90s was a guy who was very much known for action films. And I loved a lot of his action films. I just didn't like him acting. He's a terrible actor, Steven Seagal is. I was pleasantly surprised in this film. I thought he didn't do a bad... He was not the best actor in this film by a long shot. But he actually did a pretty decent job in the film. I didn't hate his performance like I thought I would. So, there you go. Michelle Rodriguez, who's most known for the Fast and Furious films, she does a good job in the film. She's one of the top characters. Cheech Marin in his brief role, it's a good role for him. And they do a little reference in the movie. Cheech and Chong, if you don't know, these guys were they were a comedy duo, and they were very much known for pot smoking. Cheech and Machete, they smoke pot in this film. And, it's hilarious. It's a nice reference to Cheech and Chong. Definitely. Jeff Fahey, he does a good job in the film. Lindsay Lohan really wasn't that bad. She didn't have a big role in the film. For the role, she wasn't that bad. They put her in the film, I think, mainly because of her looks and things like that. More than the acting, they put her in there because you say what you will about Lindsay Lohan, but she is a pretty good-looking woman. That's kind of why they put her in this film, in my opinion. So there you go. So those are pretty much the major characters that are in the film, and all of them pretty much play their characters and do them justice. Most of them do their characters justice, and that's a good thing. So now that I talked about the film, now that I talked about the characters, the movie itself and what I thought of it, I love this film. I really do. Machete is such... Make no mistake about it, however. Machete is, without a doubt, one of the dumbest B-movies of all time. It's one of the dumbest movies of all time. It really is. It's one of the dumbest, most violent movies of all time, and I can't get enough of it. I love this movie. It is, I would recommend it to anybody. I would recommend it to adults and young adults. I would not recommend it to children. So, kids, don't watch this film. So, I love this film so much. All the characters are so good in it. It's just a very enjoyable film. You know what you're getting out of this film anyway. You're not getting characterization really and plot and things like that. You go into this film expecting action, and you go into this film expecting Machete to cut off people's hands and a lot of blood and violence and gore all around. That's what you expect in this film. So there you go. The movie itself got a 72% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a good rating for it. The rating on Rotten Tomatoes says it itself. This is Rotten Tomatoes' general consensus of the film, and I'll read it to you right now. Machete is messy, violent, shallow, and tasteless, And that's precisely the point of one of the summer's most cartoonishly enjoyable films. There you go. It is just... It's a really good film. Jessica Alba actually won a Razzie Award. For those of you who don't know, Razzies are awarded to the worst of the worst actors, the worst actresses. So she got the Razzie Award for the worst actress, supporting actress. To be fair, however, she also was in other films in 2010, the year Machete came out. Other films that just bombed. So she won for that movie and 3 other movies in that same year as well. So there you go. I have to give this movie a 5 out of 5 stars. I have no issues with this movie whatsoever. I love this movie. It is so good. The production, the graphics, the production and things like that are not very good. And that's what it's meant to be. It is a celebration of B movies. B movies being those independent type films. The production values aren't always very good. B movies are always made on a shoestring budget, which is kind of surprising because $10.5 million is not a shoestring budget. That's what the budget was. And the movie made over $44 million, so it was a success, definitely. You know, the people behind this movie had to be very satisfied with how much this movie made. They had to be very happy about that. So, my review definitely is a 5 out of 5 stars. It is such a good film. I would recommend it to anybody who really likes action movies and things like that. I would definitely recommend it. For sure. And that is it for this video on Machete. Stay tuned for my next video on Machete Kills, the sequel to Machete. D-Rock 1992 out.